What if the most powerful spiritual secret in human history has been hiding in plain sight, misunderstood, mistranslated, and deliberately diluted for the masses? What if the Smaragdine tablet, what we often call the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, was never truly meant for the public eye? We've all heard the phrase, "as above, so below." It's quoted in books, whispered in rituals, tattooed on skin. But few realize this phrase is a mere fragment, one leaf from an ancient tree whose roots dig far deeper than most dare to explore. The Smaragdine tablet isn't just an alchemical riddle or a poetic musing on unity. It is a multidimensional code, crafted in symbolic language, intended not for those who seek knowledge, but for those who are ready to embody it. And that is a far rarer breed. In this video, we descend into the heart of that mystery. We will uncover why this cryptic text was never meant for general consumption, why those who held its true meaning often swore oaths of silence, why entire orders and initiatory schools built their curriculum around its veiled wisdom, and why its misuse could lead to illusion, madness, or spiritual corruption. We will explore the history of the tablet, tracing it through lost civilizations and sacred traditions. But more importantly, we will dive into the meaning behind its phrases, the hidden instructions embedded in metaphor and symbol. You'll learn why "as above, so below" was not a mere platitude, but a spiritual mechanism, a metaphysical tool, and, if misunderstood, a dangerous one. And by the end, you'll understand that the Smaragdine tablet is not a text to be read, but a path to be walked. And not everyone is meant to find the trail. To understand the true nature of the Smaragdine tablet, and why it was never intended for public consumption, we must first journey into the mists of antiquity, to an era veiled in symbol and silence. The origins of the tablet are wrapped in a fog of mystery. Tradition attributes its authorship to Hermes Trismegistus, a legendary figure said to be a synthesis of the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek god Hermes, the twin patrons of wisdom, magic, and the transmission of divine knowledge. Hermes Trismegistus is not a single man, but a symbol of the ancient sage, the archetype of the initiated teacher who bridges the realms of heaven and earth. The Emerald Tablet is believed to have surfaced around the 8th to 9th century, preserved in Arabic texts before finding its way into Latin alchemical manuscripts. But this was merely the echo of a much older voice, a whisper from a long-lost civilization. Some occult traditions trace its origin not just to ancient Egypt, but further back to Atlantis and even Lemuria, those forgotten epochs when spiritual science and cosmic wisdom were not separate from daily life, but its foundation. Its contents are deceptively brief. Just a few enigmatic lines that speak of one thing, the Father of all perfection, and the process of ascending from earth to heaven, and again descending to earth. But within those lines lies an entire cosmology, a blueprint for inner transmutation, a sacred algorithm for aligning human consciousness with the divine order of the cosmos. In the medieval and Renaissance periods, alchemists revered the tablet as the very heart of their tradition. But they knew better than to speak of it lightly. Its phrases were guarded, interpreted only by those who had undergone spiritual purification and symbolic death. To misuse this knowledge, to approach it with pride, haste, or unworthiness, was to invite disaster, both psychological and spiritual. Here's the truth. The tablet was never meant to be read with the logical mind. It was designed as a mirror, a mystical device that reveals only what the seeker is capable of understanding. To the uninitiated, it offers riddles. To the awakened, it unveils the architecture of reality. This dual nature is why the ancients feared its misuse. It is the philosopher's stone of texts, capable of unlocking profound transformation or feeding delusions of grandeur. It's also why, throughout history, secret orders like the Rosicrucians, Hermeticists, and Alchemical adepts encoded their teachings behind layers of allegory and symbol. They knew that the masses often crave power without wisdom, and they understood that divine knowledge, without discipline and spiritual maturity, becomes poison. The Smaragdine tablet was never hidden in darkness. It was hidden in plain sight, camouflaged by its own simplicity, and protected by the requirement of inner readiness. Only those willing to die to their lower nature, to surrender ego and endure the fires of transformation, could hope to truly read its words. And now we must ask, what does it truly mean? What is the alchemical fire it speaks of? What is this one thing that is the father of all creation? That is where our true journey begins. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below. This single line, perhaps the most quoted from the Smaragdine tablet, is not poetry, it's a metaphysical law, a sacred axiom, the Hermetic principle of correspondence. And it is here, hidden in plain sight, that the key to the entire tablet lies. The Smaragdine tablet is not a book to be read. It is a cipher to be unlocked, a multidimensional formula encoding the structure of the universe, the transformation of the soul, and the secret mechanics of divine manifestation. Let's break this down. When Hermes says, as above, so below, he is not just referring to the relationship between the heavens and the earth. He is pointing to a universal symmetry, that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm, that the human soul mirrors the divine cosmos, that the mysteries of the stars can be found within your breath, your blood, your very cells. But this wasn't just philosophy. This was ancient science, spiritual science. In the worldview of the initiates, everything that exists is an expression of the one thing, the prima materia, the root substance of all reality. This one thing is not material, it is energetic, spiritual, vibrational. It is both the source and the substance of creation. And alchemy, true alchemy, is not about turning lead into gold. That was only ever a metaphor. The true alchemist sought to turn the lead of the ego, the dense, unconscious, reactive self, into the gold of divine consciousness. The Emerald Tablet is the map for this transformation. It speaks of the wind that carried it in its belly, the earth which is its nurse, and separating the subtle from the gross. These are not cryptic distractions. They are precise stages in the inner laboratory of the soul. The wind is breath, the carrier of spirit, prana, chi. It is the movement of consciousness within the form. The earth is the body, the temple, the crucible in which transformation must occur. The separation of the subtle from the gross refers to purification, to self-observation, to the ability to discern your true essence from your conditioned identity. The shedding of illusions layer by layer until what remains is pure, eternal, and luminous. But here's the crucial part, and the reason this tablet was never meant for the masses. To undergo this process is to invite destruction. The destruction of the false self. The ego will fight. The mind will resist. The outer world will test your resolve. And without the guidance of an experienced teacher, or the presence of deep inner discipline, the seeker can easily become lost, inflated, or ungrounded. The tablet reveals truths that burn. And those not ready to be scorched by the fire of transmutation are better off never striking the match. This is why it was encoded, why it was hidden behind layers of allegory and sacred geometry, not to exclude, but to protect. Not just the knowledge, but the soul of the one who dares to read it. Yet in today's world, where information is cheap and mystery is mocked, the tablet has been flattened into a meme, a curiosity, a slogan on social media. But in doing so, its true essence is lost. The sacred is profaned. The gateway is ignored. Because to truly walk the path it outlines, to ascend from earth to heaven and descend again to earth, is to undergo the death of all you think you are. And this is only the beginning. The Smaragdine tablet does not merely describe a process, it invokes it. To read it with understanding is to enter into a contract with the universe. A pact of remembrance, a stirring of ancient truths embedded not in the mind, but in the soul. Let us look deeper. The phrase, its father is the sun, its mother is the moon. This is not a poetic flourish. It is an alchemical axiom. The sun represents the active, conscious principle, pure awareness, masculine in energy. The moon is the receptive, reflective aspect, the intuitive, feminine force. Together, they birth the philosopher's stone, not a literal stone, but the perfected human soul. You see, alchemy was never just about substances. It was a mirror of the soul's evolution. The laboratory was sacred. Each element, each stage, calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation, was a metaphor for spiritual purification. When Hermes writes, "The power is perfected if it is turned into earth," he is revealing a hidden teaching. Spiritual insight is meaningless unless grounded in lived experience. The ethereal must become embodied. The divine must descend. Enlightenment is not escape from the world, it is illumination within it. And yet, even among modern spiritual seekers, this truth is missed. Many chase transcendence, disassociate from the body, neglect the earth, forgetting that heaven was never meant to be fled to. It was meant to be brought here. This is the sacred paradox. The more divine you become, the more deeply human you must be. The higher you climb, the more rooted you must remain. The one thing, spirit and matter, must be married. This union is the great work. But here's where things get even more complex, and why the Emerald Tablet remains one of the most misunderstood esoteric artifacts in history. Over time, different interpretations emerged. Some claimed it described the process of transmuting metals. Others said it was an astrological code. Some linked it to Kabbalah, others to Sufi mysticism or Vedic science. And they were all partially right, because the tablet is not linear, it is fractal. It reveals truths on many levels simultaneously: material, spiritual, psychological, cosmic. You don't decode it like a puzzle. You contemplate it like a mandala. And as you evolve in consciousness, the tablet evolves with you. It is a living document, a holographic key that reveals different doors depending on who holds it and how deeply they dare to look. But herein lies the danger. In the wrong hands, those obsessed with power, ego, control, this knowledge can be weaponized. The ability to manipulate energies, to shift realities, to influence others without inner purification, this is the path of the sorcerer, not the sage. This is perhaps why the true initiates of old veiled their teachings in symbols, riddles, and contradictions. The Smaragdine tablet was never meant for the curious or the casual. It was meant for the initiated, for those who had been tempered by silence, solitude, and sincere seeking. It whispers a promise, but also a warning. You shall obtain the glory of the whole universe. All obscurity will be clear to you. But at what cost? The journey toward that glory is not safe. It is not linear. It is not guaranteed. It is a descent into darkness before the ascent into light, a dismembering before remembering. And that, perhaps, is the greatest secret of all. The tablet is not a guide to external mastery. It is a mirror of internal awakening. It does not show you how to change the world. It shows you how to change yourself, and in doing so, the world changes. How do we, in an age of endless distractions and surface-level knowledge, integrate the profound teachings of the Smaragdine tablet into our everyday lives? The answer lies not in seeking elaborate rituals or hidden laboratories, but in recognizing that we ourselves are the crucible. The furnace of transformation is not found in distant lands or forgotten temples, it burns within. To begin the great work, one must first learn the art of inner silence. In the early hours of the day, before the noise of the world encroaches, take a few moments to sit in stillness. No distractions, no goals, just the breath and the vast space of your own being. In this silence, the gross elements of distraction begin to dissolve, and the subtle truths rise to the surface. Here, you begin to really see, what you're clinging to and what's ready to fall away. You begin to recognize that wisdom doesn't scream. It whispers. But silence is only the first step. True alchemy begins in darkness. This is what the sages called nigredo, the black phase. Before any gold can be purified, it must first be burned. So too, we must confront our shadows, our fear, shame, guilt, and suppressed grief. These are not enemies. They are the raw materials for transformation. Keep a journal. Pour your truths into it without censorship. Name the parts of yourself you've hidden from. This act of radical honesty is itself alchemical fire. Transformation also demands the union of opposites. Light and dark, masculine and feminine, action and stillness. The Emerald Tablet speaks in paradox because truth is not binary, it is synthesis. When you're overwhelmed with anger, find the quiet space beneath it. When you're drifting in apathy, summon a spark of boldness. When you're stuck in logic, invite the intuitive. The inner marriage of these forces births a new self, whole, awakened, sovereign. The world, too, becomes a sacred manuscript if we know how to read it. Alchemy teaches us that every experience is symbolic. Every encounter, every frustration, every moment of joy carries a deeper message. Begin seeing life as a mirror, reflecting back aspects of your soul. Look through this symbolic lens, and reality begins to speak in the ancient language of archetypes, signs, and synchronicities. Yet knowledge alone is not the goal. The Smaragdine tablet reminds us that its power is complete if it is turned into earth. Insight must become embodiment. Wisdom must root itself in your actions, your words, your creations. Speak truth where silence breeds ignorance. Build something sacred, be it art, a relationship, or a path of service. Let your inner transformation ripple into the tangible world. If you're seeking a starting point, consider this simple ritual. Each morning, before you open yourself to the outside world, light a candle. Sit with intention. Place your hand on your heart and recite, "May I become the vessel. May I remember the one thing. May I descend and rise. May I unite the sun and the moon within me. As above, so below. As within, so without." The work begins now. These words are more than poetry. They are a code, an invocation, a pact with your highest self to begin the journey of return, not to some ancient land, but to your truest nature. The Smaragdine tablet was never meant to be consumed passively. It was meant to be lived, not read, but experienced, not analyzed, but embodied. And those who dare to walk its path with sincerity and courage may just uncover the most sacred truth of all, that the philosopher's stone was never a stone. It was the awakened soul. So now you know. The Smaragdine tablet, whispered among alchemists and mystics for centuries, was never simply a cryptic relic of antiquity. It was, and is, a living flame, passed hand to hand, heart to heart, across ages cloaked in shadow. But it was never meant for the masses. Not because it was too sacred to share, but because it required something the modern world is starving for: silence, depth, devotion. You see, this isn't just about translating ancient lines of Latin or Arabic. It's about translating yourself. It's about becoming the tablet, the sacred text in flesh. The mystery was hidden not to exclude you, but to protect its purity until you were ready. And if you've made it this far, perhaps you are. In a world obsessed with instant answers and hollow power, the true philosopher's stone is inner mastery. The power to transmute chaos into clarity, base emotions into divine understanding, ego into essence. That was the gift Hermes Trismegistus left behind. That is the treasure buried beneath allegory and flame. But I must warn you, the path ahead does not promise comfort. It promises truth. And truth, when first revealed, often dismantles everything false within and around us. Yet for those brave enough to walk through that fire, a new world emerges. Not externally, but within the sanctum of your own soul. So now I leave you with this. Do not just listen to the teachings. Live them. Do not merely search for the tablet. Become it. And if this message stirred something ancient in your bones, if you feel the pull of the hidden, the sacred, the forgotten, then this channel was made for you. Like, share, or subscribe, but more than that, stay with us as we journey deeper into the forgotten libraries of the soul. The veil is thinning. The old wisdom returns. The question is, will you remember?